Good evening everybody, and welcome to my sewing room on a Friday. I hope you are all well on this beautiful sunny Friday evening. It's just lovely today. So it's quite warm in here, and I'm still as you can see mid tidy, and hence why I've sort of tied my hair back and stuff like that. And actually there's a little clue to one of my shows just here that you might notice. But welcome as ever to my sewing room. So where should we start? Well, it's been a very busy week, but I've managed to have a day of prepping today because I've got some shows coming up, and I've just spent the last 2 hours ironing things, you know, as you do, ready for shows. Because even though it doesn't look like it sometimes, I do iron everything before I take it into the studios. Hi Carrie, hi Hayley, hi Karen, oh hello Bev, oh and Amy, hello everybody, nice to see you, Maria, my goodness, you're coming in thick and fast now. Lynn, hi Deborah, Viv, nice to see you Viv, Tina, oh my goodness, lots of you. So just to recap, as I said, it's been a very busy day. I'm still trying to tidy, but I'm still in that stage where I'm making more mess than I am sorting out. You know, I put things into a small box and then I realise that box isn't big enough, so I put it into a medium box, and then it's, so yeah, we're getting there. But as I said last week, I think I have found carpet the other side. So hi Maureen, hello Viv, hello Fiona, Christine, Tina, Alan. I'm fine today, thank you Alan, I hope you're well. Yeah, so I've spent the last couple of hours ironing samples for my show on Sunday morning. Hi Karen, nice to see you too. Now we've got a big sales show on Monday morning, sorry Sunday morning at 8 AM. No Deborah, I haven't ordered any more boxes. I do need some more. It's beginning to feel never ending. But hello, oh hello from Swansea, hi Elaine, hello Angela. Yes, I'm just finding so much stuff that I completely forgot about. I found an old school report from 1983 in one of the drawers. So oh Carrie, chance for sewing shows, that'd be fabulous, wouldn't it? I don't know whether they would do that. It depends on what products, you see, we bring, and he does different things to me. So oh, Viv's just ordered her V3. Nice. We're going to have some fun with that. So anyway, I've been ironing stuff. We've got a sales show on Sunday morning at 8 AM. Loads of fabric going to be on there. Hayley, was it a good report? Yes, but I remember getting that report and having to look up over exuberant, because that's what my head of year said. I was a little over exuberant, and I should be careful about it because sometimes it could be misinterpreted. Well, so so hang on, people are commenting too fast. Hold on. Hi Tricia, Alan, did you first ever quilt as you go, but you're having some problems? I don't know which hopscotch one you've got there, Alan, but hopefully we can help you. Karen's made everybody these headbands in Christmas fabrics. This is my Star Wars one, and actually because the Star Wars fabric is on the show, and also I was getting dusty, so it was just easier to tie it back. I might take it off actually. There we go. So Viv, enjoy Viv. Carrie says a quilt off with me and Stuart. That would be fun. No, mate, it's not Tilda. Hello, Heather from Texas. Yeah, I am making progress. It just feels very, very slow on the old tidying front. But it's amazing what you find. And I found a load of stuff that I can screen print on, so that's been good. Sharon. 20 working days to retirement. Oh, lucky you. Lucky you. So Andrea says she's from dead jealous of Brittany. I think that's because she's seen Viv's got her V3 on order. Anyway, so I've been ironing a lot of samples for Sunday morning show. So the fabrics are up there, but I wouldn't buy them now because they're not on sale until Sunday morning, as far as I know. So they're fat quarter bundles. There's some meterage. There's some Star Wars. No, Angela, I'm not coming to sort out your craft room. I can't cope with mine. But what I thought I would do is, we had some Screen Sensation shows this week that were very, very successful. And what we've been trying to do with Screen Sensation is showing people what they can do with the fabric. So we sort of inserted into the show a bit of sewing, which is actually quite stressful for me, because I've got to get the screen printed and dried and demo techniques and then make a bag all in about 55 minutes. And as you know, we don't get 55 minutes worth of talking time, so it gets a little bit Dean didn't reckon I could do it, and I did twice. But what I thought I would do, because a couple of people commented that they didn't get to see what I'd done, so I'm going to show you both of the bags that I did on those shows. Now, I think that was that Wednesday or Thursday? I can't actually remember when I did those shows. Let's have a look. So it's obviously not today. No, it doesn't want to go backwards. So, but anyway, the shows I didn't get. I didn't get the demos done as slowly as I'd like. I'm just reading what Anna. How do I use Best Press starch spray? Can you help, please, Sarah? I haven't used Best Press starch spray, but I should imagine it comes with instructions on the spray. I actually use Dr. Beckman's. Which does come with instructions on how to use it. So I would suggest, Alan, you read the carton. And if that doesn't help, they've usually got an email address. But basically what you do with starch is you spray it onto something and then you iron it and it stiffens it. So that's what I do with a lot of my part-made quilts. So Viv, am I going back in time? I don't think so. It does feel a little bit like that sometimes. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is show you these. Oh, it's with the watch. No, I've got a calendar on my watch. Oh, Karen says that's off the Sewing Quarter. So there you go, Alan. Have a look there. They might be able to help you. I've not used Best Pressed. So yes. Yeah, I've got a smartwatch, you see. It's got my calendar on it, but it only wants to go forwards right now. It doesn't want to go backwards, which is a bit of a nuisance. But anyway, so let's get on. I'm going to show you how to do the two bags that I made on the two shows, and you will have seen these before, but they're nice, quick little bag projects, and it may well get you stitching. And I've just realised that because when I did the second show, somebody lost the zipper foot from the sewing machine. I'd lost the zipper foot from the sewing machine, so I had to take my own. And now where did I put it? Oh, yeah, I had to come home in between. So Sandra, love your program and your live programs. Just wish I wasn't deaf. I would love to hear you, Hayley. Oh, bless you. That's really sweet. A lot of people wouldn't agree. I have had people tell me that they mute me, so I wouldn't worry about it. Right, there's my zipper foot. Yeah, because some kind soul on the FS130 QC they got at the studios managed to lose the zipper foot, and I went to do the first demo. I sat down just before the show, and it was like, where is it? So we had to swap the demos round. So, right. Anyway, what we're going to do. Alan, what does sizing alternative mean? I have no idea. In what sense? Alternative sizes? Or is it an alternative to sizing? Because sizing adds stiffness to your bags. I would suggest you Google it, Alan. So, hi Mandy. Best Press is usually used on Quilt As You Go projects. You spray it on as an adhesive to prevent slipping of fabric. There you go. So, hi Marie. Oh, Heather, watched you on Wednesday. That's when I did the shows. It was Wednesday. Thank you, Heather. So, but anyway, if you didn't catch what I did 2 bags, 1 in each hour. The first one was a little tote bag, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. The second one I did was a little pyramid bag, and I've done this loads of times. We had it in the magazines, and Diane had done a couple of examples for the show, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's just tip you forward so you can see what I'm doing. Let's bring you in a little bit. Right. There you go. So it's not so easy for me to read your comments now, so I do apologise if you can't quite, if I'm not responding. So that's all right, Alan, no problem. Now I'm just getting my threads. This is my new thread stand with all of my neutrals, but actually what I could do with is actually a red for this one. I'm using one of the other neutrals. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a pyramid bag, which you can make this with any size square. Okay, just the bigger the square, the bigger the bag. So let me just thread up. And I've not got a left-handed machine before anybody comments. It's just because obviously I'm using a front-facing camera on my phone. So that's why you're seeing it all backwards. So, zipper foot. So this is the zipper foot. Okay, and that goes on here. Yes, Trisha, new thread stand. Well, actually, not a new thread stand. Old thread stand found when tidying up, but new threads. So my new threads are actually, they're all Gutermann. Let me grab it again. These are all Gutermann cottons, so they are standard 50 weight cottons for your piecing generally. So hello Fiona, hello Elaine, oh hello from Sunny Island, and I did just see a comment there saying that Viv, that fabric is exactly the same one that you've made your granddaughter's quilt with. Yes, this is Rojo or Rojo, and it's on Sunday's show. So what I've done is I've cut 4 squares the same size, 2 of each pattern. Okay, these 2 are going to be the lining and these 2 are going to be the outside. And then I've got my zip as well. Now I've picked a zip that's slightly longer just because it makes it easier if the zipper pull is hanging off the edge. All right, so I'm just going to get the zipper should be touching the outside of the fabric. Okay. With concealed zips, I usually say the teeth, but I got caught out on a show when I accidentally picked up a concealed zipper, a zip, because with a concealed zip, you've got the teeth are on the inside and the pull is on the outside, so it's awkward. So, and if like Alan, you've got continuous zips, you can just cut it a little bit longer. So anyway, I've got one piece with the teeth facing down, and then we pop the other one on the top like this. And what did I just do with that packet of pins? Here we go. Oh, hello Pat from Florida. Nice. So Maureen says, hi Sarah, love the thread stand, maybe in my new sewing room. Oh, if I get all the things, there won't be room for me. A thread stand does help. It does help, but just avoid keeping your threads in direct sunlight. So hi Katie, hi Teresa. Yeah, try to avoid keeping your threads in direct sunlight because the sun can bleach out the colour. So, and we don't want that. Right, so I've just clipped them with my Wonder Clips, and basically we're going to run down the side here to the end with the zipper. Now I'm just going to move my needle slightly to the right. Let's just hand crank. Now I've just got the teeth just there. Let's change, actually I'll do stitch number 1, that's better. So this thread here I'm using is a Gutermann Sulky. I'm using it for piecing, but I'm also going to be using it because I want to top stitch with it. So let's just little back stitch. Hello, Jeanette. Nice of you to join us. She says, first time I've joined you. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Jeanette. I'm actually, just to recap, I am redoing some of the bags that I made on Wednesday shows for the Screen Sensation, because we had it was very hurried, because they want me to make something, which is lovely. However, there's not much that you can make in like a 4-minute sewing demo. So anyway, now I have turned my fabric through, and I'm just going to top stitch along the top. This will stop the lining from rising up inside the zip, and it just gives it a professional finish, because it's really annoying if the fabric gets caught in those teeth, and then you can't undo your zip because the lining's caught in it. So you can see there, it's all nice and clear. So let's just do the other side. So again, make sure your right sides are facing. And actually, when I demoed one of these bags, I think it was the pyramid bag, I was in such a rush that I put one of the lining pieces the right way around, the wrong way around, I should say. So instead of them by being right sides together, one of them was the wrong side. But hey ho, that's the joy of live TV. Unfortunately, somebody won it, but never mind. Right, so let's just do the other side of the zip now. So with the zipper foot, it runs nicely along the channel. Alan just asked how you replace the sewing, a broken needle on the sewing machine. It will tell you in your manual how to do that, but actually what you've got here on the, I can't show you on here because obviously you're looking in the wrong place. There is a screw that holds your needle on. Just undo it and replace it, but look in your manual, because I don't know what machine you've got, and some of them are a little bit different, but your manual should always be your first port of call for anything like that. So there you go. Though I'm surprised, Alan, you're asking me about replacing a needle, because you've done quite a lot of patchwork and you're supposed to replace your needle quite regularly. So I'm wondering why you haven't been replacing your needle before. So Lillian says, my whole house looks like your sewing room. I'm having an extension built to make a big bedroom come sewing room. Oh, how lucky you. Lucky Lillian. You'll have to share pictures of it when it's done so that we can all be jealous. Right, so I'm just doing the top stitching along the end. Right. So that's the first part of our bag done. Now, if we were just doing a standard bag, what we would do is we would take these right sides here and sew all the way around, but leave a gap in the bottom. Okay, but what we do with this bag is we run down either side, okay, and leave the top and the bottom open, but do open your zip. So I'm just going to line these up and use my Wonder Clips again. I like my Wonder Clips. Hayley says, because he's naughty like me and runs the needle for far too long. Yes, I'm just as guilty of that, actually, because they do say you're supposed to change your needle regularly, but I only tend to change it when it's causing problems, and the problems that it causes is skipped stitches. So that's often a good sign that your needle needs replacing, because it's jumping stitches or missing stitches. Or obviously it's broken. That's another thing. Now, let's just move that zip part way into the middle. Fold those two. Now I'm going to have to be very careful when I get to this, because I've got that little knuckle here at the end, just there, is in my seam allowance, and I don't want to stitch into that because that might well break my needle, and then I will have to demo how to change it. So what I'll do is I will stop just before I get there and skip over it. So let's just line these up anyway. Right, so I'm just going to change back to my standard foot. What have we got? J foot. There we go. There's my J foot. You see, this is my storage facilities for my sewing machine. When I can't find anything, it may well be in my little wooden bowl that I got in Morocco years ago. Fell in love with it, and it just sits there and holds everything in place. So change to that foot. Put threads out of the way, and then we're going to sew down each side. So when I get to my zip, I'm just going to hand crank to it, to that, there you go. I can feel with the needle, that's where that little lump is. So I'm just going to do a back stitch, and then I'm going to skip over it. So I'll have an extra long stitch, but I'm not going to break my needle. So I'm just edging forwards until I can feel the end of that. That's just the end of the nylon on the zip. Okay, there we go. Do another little back stitch. So I just thought, Elaine, how did you get into sewing and embroidery? Actually, I've been sewing and embroidering all my life. It's only been sewing machines for the last 15 years, but up until then everything was done by hand. So, and I found a load of it when I was tidying up. Teresa says, I've made some lovely toilet bags and a couple of tops ready for a caravan holiday. Now my poor old dog has, ooh, cruciate ligament. So is now at the vet's having surgery. I can't see the rest of the post there, it's disappeared. But I hope your dog gets better soon, Teresa. So, hi Shirley, I've received my brother today, looking forward to having a play with it. Love watching you. Well, thank you very much. I love having you watch. Noreen says, if I look at you through a mirror, you appear the right way around. But of course, I can't read the messages. Bless you. Yes, there's no fix on Android phones for that problem. There is if you're on an iPhone, but there isn't if you're on an Android phone, because the last Facebook update removed it. Don't know why. Right, so Alan says, I'm making a sewing special remember cushion to remember my mum who passed away 7 years ago. Oh, Alan, that's a lovely idea. That is lovely. Viv, just come back from Norfolk. I don't quite know what you mean there, Viv. I don't know whether you mean me, because I'm not in Norfolk. So what we do then is, I forgot to do this bit. So this is what we've got so far. And I'm just going to chop the end of the zip off. Okay, so this is the top, this is the outside of the bag, and you just fold it like this so that your center seams line up like that, and then we're going to sew straight the way along. So this is how it creates the pyramid. Little back stitch. Right, and then this side we do the same, but we're going to leave a hole in the bottom of this for turning through. So Jeanette said, I learnt to sew from my mum Marion, who's 94 on Sunday and still commenting on what I do. Oh, that's lovely. Well, say happy birthday, Jeanette, to your mum. Oh, Teresa. Sorry, Viv is answering Teresa. You see, that's why I'm getting confused. I thought she was talking to me. Why would that happen? Why would anybody be talking to me? But anyway, Jeanette, I hope your mum has a lovely birthday. Are you making her something for her birthday? Or will she be a bit judgy about it if you made her something? What is nice now is my mum always sewed when I was younger and does a lot of embroidery and things, and dressmaking. But I've been teaching her quilting. So yes, Alan, about the zip, I did mention that you've got to leave the zip open. I did say it. So Alison, hello from sunny Devon. Very nice. So now what we do is we take the whole bag with the open zip in there and we tuck it through the hole that we just left. All right. So tuck it all the way through. Like this. Now remember, the red is the outside. Elaine says, I learned to sew from you. Sarah, and so far I've got the 210 embroidery 927E. Well, I'm glad I could help, Elaine. I'm very glad I could help, because the more people that get sewing, the better, and the more people I've got to talk about sewing with, the happier I am. Dawn says, haven't done any sewing for 30 years and just bought a basic sewing machine. What do I suggest you do first? Well, one of these bags, I would suggest. That would be a nice project to start with. But you see, I poked all those corners out. This then folds inwards to fill up the hole. And Viv says she learnt to sew from me too. Oh, there's a lot of husbands out there very grumpy because they don't get tea as regularly as they used to. I have actually had people come up and say that to me at the Festival of Quilts. You're the reason I don't get fed anymore. Alan says, I use stick and spray for fabric to seal the lining hole up, and it works. There you go. Don't know if it's because my battery life is low, but this video isn't playing. She'll have to catch up later. This is from Jennifer. I've got a bit more material together and looking forward to playing with it. Well, it might well be a battery, or it might be your internet connection, Jennifer, but I think we're all running here. But anyway, I've just used a few stitches. Let's just get rid of some of these loose threads that I've got hanging around. But poke those corners out. Do that zip up. And there we go. Little pyramid bag. So that's what we did in the second show on Wednesday. And it all happened very quickly. So this is a bit slower and a bit calmer than the show, because obviously Dean was going, you're never going to get it done, you're never going to get it done. I was going, yes I am, yes I am, stop talking. But anyway, that's the pyramid bag. So I hope that gives you a chance to get playing. But Dawn, hi Sarah, husband's going to buy me an overlocker, but don't know which one. Help wanted. Oh, actually, I've been writing a blog post about overlockers. I'll have to dig it out and see if I can finish it and then post it for you. Personally, the overlocker I've got, obviously it's a Brother, and it is the Brother 423 4D, which is a very nice overlocker. But it's up to you. But I'll sort out that post in the next week or so and get that up. So can you use the tabs on the ends of the zip that you showed on the cushion to make a bigger bag? Yes, you can, Hayley. Yes, you can. Where you just you get the ends of your zip. So imagine this is the end of your zip. You get a piece of fabric. Oh, hang on. Let's see. Grab a piece. Oh. So something like this. Fold it over. Fold these two edges in like that and like that. All right, and give that a press so there's no raw edges. Then you pop your zip in here like that and sew along the edge, and then just trim it to the same size as your zip, and it makes your zip nice and long to any length you need. So Elaine says, Sarah Payne Quilter, you read my mind. I was going to ask you if you could repeat that demo after I saw you do it on CNC. There you go. Alan, I made a bag with a pocket for my power back charger for my phone. There you go. Teresa, oh yes please, I have an overlocker and only use it for finishing because I don't understand all the things it can do. Well, also I've got to write some bits and pieces about the cover stitch machine as well. I've just done a review for Brother, and they've sent me some other feet to play with, so that's going to be fun. So will we be able to see the whole video again? Yes, when this is finished I press save and it goes onto my main wall and you can watch it back anytime. I would like to show my blocks with that fabric to you on your page if that's okay. Yes, Viv. Right, anyway. Hello Sharon, nice to see you, but you can go back and watch this from the beginning to see how to make the little bag with the zip in. So that's the first bag I wanted to show you. The other one was the tote bag that we did on the 8 AM show. So what I've got is 4 pieces of fabric. This time it's 10 inches by 13 inches, but you can do any size you want. Janet says, hi Sarah, watching you while hubby drives home from shopping. Well, you might as well make good use of the time. And then I've got 2 straps, which I think I did 20 inches long. I might be wrong, but they're about yay big. All right, so this is 2 pieces of sort of thick ribbon. Okay, so it's like a cross grain ribbon. It's great for handles, but what we're going to do is I'm going to take my 2 pieces right sides together. Now this is the outside of the bag. So we're just going to sew down the sides, across the bottom and up the other side. This is a great way of making shopping bags. Do this with a fat quarter. Just take 2 fat quarters right sides together. I'm just seeing a couple of people talking about overlockers. Leslie said she got the Singer overlocker and was afraid to use it. I did see a comment, but I don't know who else said it, but I think Trisha got an overlocker and scared to use it. Now the thing with overlockers is they go really fast. So just try and slow it down a little bit. Also, they should come ready threaded, all right? Because threading is the trickiest bit with an overlocker. So when you want to change threads or your threads are running out, yes, you could use your scary overlocker for this, Linda rather. But what you do is you take the existing thread, you snip the thread off here, then you get the next thread, you tie it on, and then you pull your thread all the way through. But that saves time on the overlocking. But I found it really useful. I went on a day workshop and we spent the morning just threading the machine, because when you understand how it works, it's much easier to use it. So I just saw some people saying it's still in the box. Sarah Jane says, did you enjoy your drink you were going to have in the garden after the last show? Yes, I did. And then I had a meal out last night because the lovely Pauline and Debbie Bradley, so Pauline Wheeler and Debbie Bradley, had finished their shows, called me and said, let's do dinner. So I took them to my local favourite restaurant, which is called the Gurkha Lounge in Peterborough, and they do Nepalese food, and the food was amazing as ever, but I have to say half the bill, and Paul was driving so he just drank Coke, but half the bill was gin. But hey ho, we all felt fine this morning. So this is the lining, and I'm stitching around 3 sides again, but the bottom I'm going to leave a gap for turning. And when I leave a gap, I want to do a little back stitch. Yes, Alan, you can put a piece of card in the bottom of the bag, because I'm going to box this out. So when you boxed it out, you could actually put a bit of cardboard in the bottom to give it a stable bottom, or you could use a piece of wadding, or you can get plastic bag bases for doing it as well. But I tend to leave them floppy because it means that I can fold them up really small and put them in my handbag. If it's got cardboard in it, you end up having to bend the cardboard. But it's really horses for courses, is what you want to do. So, just sewing up this side here. Now what happened to me on my show, my 8 AM show with Dean. Also, bearing in mind, I had Angela's just said, come on girls, get them out. Overlockers, obviously. It's not that scary. I won't be without mine. Mine bounces when it's sewing. And Maureen has an brother overlocker. I learned to thread it as I broke the threads when trying to pull them through. Now feel really confident at threading them. Yes, it's just people say, oh, they're really hard to thread. But actually, with most machines, it's written on it. I think what happens is people think it's going to be hard and therefore they make it hard. But, oh, that was outside the window. So I'm just measuring from my seam 2 inches in, okay, for the position of my handles. Now what happened on Wednesday when I was demoing this was I'd had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to get to the studios and everything, so I was a little bit tired by the time we came to 8 o'clock, and Dean was teasing me that I wouldn't be able to do it, so I was a little stressed and a little flustered, and what I actually did was, instead of pinning this to the right side of the lining, I pinned it to the outside. So when I came to put the bag together, I was a little bit confused. So hang on, what I'm doing now is pinning. So I've marked 2 inches into for the edge of my handle, but you can choose where you want to position your handles, and then I'm tucking the handle inside but making sure it's not twisted, and pin the other side in place. Now I like to put 2 pins in so that they stay straight. And 2 pins there and 2 pins there. Actually, I need to box out the bottom in a second as well, so I'll do that. But let's just tuck that. What I do need to do is box out the bottom first of all, which this is going to give us a flat bottom. All right. So what you do is you pull the 2 sides away to the point like this, and then you want to line up that front seam and that back seam. Now what I do is I press one to the right and the other one to the left so that they lock in together. So there we go, and then I'm going to measure 2 inches from this is one method of boxing out. The other method is that you can actually just cut a square out and sew this together. So again, it's whichever method you feel happiest with. So I'm just going to stitch across that line that I've just marked at the 2 inch point. Little back stitch. Yes, Maria. I would suggest Alan YouTube it as well. I love to be helpful, Alan, but there's only so many questions I can answer in one go. But yeah, try YouTube. Just type in ruffle edge cushion with a satin ribbon. So Heather, you've got the same machine as me. Yeah, I love my overlocker. So I'm doing the same thing now to the other side. Back stitch a little bit. Actually, the thread's caught there. What's happening there? Got a bird's nest going on under there, so let's just pull that out of the way. Just checking. When you get a bird's nest, or when I get a bird's nest, I always have a quick look just to see that I am threaded correctly. Back stitch. Right. Hayley says, did my first frilly edge cushion the Tiger Day, thanks to the tutorial I did a while ago. Thank you very much. I don't remember which tutorial that was, but I'm sure I was fabulous. Anyway, so I've trimmed off now to 1/4 inch. With that, there's my seam allowance, and about 1/4 inch seam allowance across there, and that gives me a nice boxed bottom. As Adam says, you can put cardboard in here when you've constructed it, but make sure your hole is big enough to get the cardboard in. But the piece of cardboard would be this width and that length. Okay, so if you do want to use the cardboard, you can. So I'm just going to do the same thing with the bottom of this bag. I didn't box out when we did it on the TV because there just wasn't time. And you know, there are limits in what we can do in 4 minutes. So forward stitch a little bit. Oh, caught my thread again. It's because I'm rushing. Forward, back. And trim. I've just said these would be nice. I've just seen these would be nice to organise a dressing table, perhaps without handles, says Alison. That's a very good point. Actually, I've got, oh, it's full of fabric. I've got a bag just, don't know if you can see it, just here. A bag like that. I've used exactly the same method to put my scraps in. So there you go. Alan, you're the best sewing queen in the world. Oh, thank you, Alan. I do my best. Right. So let's do this last corner. So I tuck one way and one the other. Ooh. So these will actually be on my show on Sunday as set dressing. But I didn't get as much sewing done today as I'd hoped because Paul went out and I had to wait downstairs for a parcel delivery because, as some of you know, I don't hear very well. I've got a hearing problem, hearing loss. So when I'm expecting a parcel, Paul usually waits downstairs and I'm on the 3rd floor, and this was a really important parcel, so I spent 4 hours basically sitting downstairs waiting for the parcel because I was afraid of missing it by being up here. So as soon as it was supposed to arrive before 6, and you know what, it came at 2 minutes past 6. I've been waiting downstairs since about, actually since 12:30. So that was a little bit annoying. So I didn't get as much done as I would have liked, but never mind. Tomorrow I'll show you what arrived in a minute because this is a definite sneaky peek, but I'll get back to you. Let me just pin these. So this is the second set of handles. So as I said, remember to pin them on the outside, the right side of the fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my extension table off. And this is where you see all the mess that's underneath my sewing machine extension table, because I often just push things underneath it. So if I can't find the TV remote, I'm most likely under the extension table. So let's just make some room. Right. So what I'm going to do first of all is I like to stitch these handles in place so I can take the pins out. So I'm just going to do a little very close to the edge because I don't want them to show. I don't want these stitches to show once I've put the bag together. So it's quite close to the edge, so it'll be in the seam allowance. So there's one. Take the pins out. 2, 3, 4. So there we go, that's all of my handles, and a good job I didn't pre-stitch them in place on Wednesday because they were wrong, and then I wouldn't have got the bag finished and Dean would have been right. That's no good, is it? So Lisa says, I love parcels. I had a head injury and memory problems. Buy stuff online and forget that I bought parcels. More exciting for me. Oh, bless you, Lisa. That's definitely looking for the bright side. I quite often get parcels here because I'm, you know, for work, and I don't necessarily know that they're coming. So Paul will say, have we got any parcels coming? I'm like, no. And then I get home from the studios and there's 8 parcels. So, but Lisa, that's, I hope you're feeling better. So then we've got Cherry, get a doorbell that has a mobile flashing light. Now I was using a baby monitor as well, but it wouldn't switch in quickly enough, and if they only rang once, it would be activated by the first ring, and then I just wouldn't hear it. So Angela says, I sew with things piled up on my table. I need to get it sorted. So hello, Cindy. And Heather says, it's the real world. Us creatives are not tidy. No, I'm far too busy being creative. So anyway, I'm going to put the bag together now. So I've got the bag with the lining and the handles inside. All right, you just want to check that your handles aren't twisted. Those tuck in there. And then we take our outside of the bag. That needs to be right side out. Now, it's up to you whether you do the lining on the inside or the bag on the inside. I tend to do it this way around because I find it easier to get it all through the bottom there. But as long as your bag, the outside, the outside fabric is touching the patterned fabric of the lining, you'll be all right. So Maria says, I start out being tidy and within 2 minutes it looks like a bomb hit the place. Yes, I know, I feel your pain. So now I'm going to clip these in place, but what I do is I start at my seams at the edges. Okay, so either side, clip those together because I think that's the most obvious place. Sarah, it's Sherry but spelt like cherry. Blame my dad. You see, I've got an Auntie Cherry. So I will probably call you Cherry every time because I'm just dreadful like that. But I do apologise, Sherry, if I get it wrong. So I'm just clipping these now. So, right, and the bag is nearly finished. And I find with these bags, because we've got sort of 2 pieces of fabric, so one for the lining and one for the inside, I don't necessarily need to add wadding. Oh, just dropped my thread. I'm actually going to put white thread in now. Should have done that for the outside, but it doesn't matter. But the top stitch, I want to top stitch with white. So I'm going to put my Gutterman Sulky away and get my white neutral. Thread the machine. Now we come back to the sleeve arm. Jenny says, watching you from Mountain Grove, Missouri. Wow. Bunting as presents for American family. Hotel opposite a patchwork shop. Are you at Missouri Star Quilt Company? If you are, I'm very jealous. Yeah, Jenny Doan is just amazing. I love her stuff. So if you are at Missouri, Jenny, just wave and say the UK says hello. Right, so I'm just going to start stitching now. And what I do is I come to the handle and then I go back over it. So back stitch a little bit and then continue. And I do a generous seam allowance along here because, as I said, I don't want to see those red threads. Or those safety stitches, or the basting stitches, as we might call them, that are holding the handles in place. So Liz says, as I sew things, they fall off the back of my table onto the floor. There's loads of stuff down there. Yes, yeah, mine's the same. Though I've got boxes there, so they're not falling very far because I've got the boxes with all of my scan and cut stuff. So. Right, so another handle, so go backwards, because that's obviously where the most amount of pressure is going to go. And you could go round it with your overlocker as well. Irene, can you box the bag out when both fabrics are together instead of individually, please? I'm not sure what you mean there, because you can obviously you've got the two bits of fabric, you've got the two sides already together, but you can do it by cutting squares out before you sew it together and then just sew the corners in. Right, so Sarah, I didn't know I could change the top colour thread and not change the bobbin colour to match. Now, I don't use the same thread in the top and bottom because I always use bobbin fill, which I just adore. Let me just see if I've got any in here. Yeah, I use bobbin fill. I use 70, this is 90, which is for embroidery machines, but I use 70 for sewing machines. And I just use bobbin fill the whole time. If your tension is okay, then if you're not having any problems, you should be all right. If you've got a problem with your tension, then you do need to change your bobbin threads. But my sewing machine, my FS130 QC, is quite happy to carry on the way it's going. And it's not bothered at all. So you see, most of the bobbins that I've got in here, unless it's a specialist project, are white filled with bobbin fill. So, but it is very much down to personal taste and also what your machine is happy with, because some of the machines can be a little bit, you know, flighty. I know some of the Boninas, if you don't get exactly the right needle and exactly the right threads, it plays, you know, silly buggers. But now what I'm doing is I'm just going to close up the base there with a straight stitch. Again, you could do this by hand so that it was invisible, but this is going to be inside the bag, and I like the extra strength that you get from machine stitching the hole up. Right, okay, so now we tuck everything back inside. So we have the outside of our bag. Alison says, what's good about bobbin fill? Well, bobbin fill is finer than standard sewing thread, so you can get a lot more of it on your bobbin. So, yes, Alan, you could put a zip in the base of the shopping bag if you really wanted to. There's no reason why you can't. But as I said, I like to fold my bags up really small, like that, and put it in my handbag for my shopping. But yes, you could put a zip in the base so that you could take the cardboard out. Bobbin fill, yeah, it's finer, which means you get more of it on your bobbin. It's essential for embroidery, because what it does is it pulls the thread through onto the back, so you don't see any of the bobbin thread on the top. But just generally, it's a finer, thinner thread that just goes through your machine quite easily. And as I said, you can get 3 or 4 times the amount of thread onto it. So bobbin fill, what thread? I've got the brother too. Okay, what I'll do is after this, I wrote a post about bobbin fill. It's on my blog. I will share a link to it about the bobbin fill. Patricia says, I have a problem with the bobbin fill. I can't get it to wind onto the bobbin. Now, you should, when you thread your bobbin, you should put, you press the foot down like that. That should be down, and you should thread the maximum speed. But with bobbin fill, what I do is wrap it round a few times and hold it to get it started. So maybe that's what your problem is. What I'm going to do now is, oh Heather, it is perfect, isn't it? This is the quilting cotton. It's the Roho that's on my show on Sunday morning. It's on sale. So, but now I'm going to finish my bag off with a bit of top stitching. So I'm just pulling out any loose threads and just with my fingers, just rolling the edges up. I could get to the iron and iron it, but you know me. Right, so what I'm going to do is start at the seam, and I go forward a stitch, and I go back a little stitch, but this is still hidden quite well in the seam. And then I'm going to top stitch all the way round, just pulling the 2 bits of fabric backwards so that it's not bunching up at the top. Just like that. And I think this gives it a nice finish as well. Obviously you can put pockets in this kind of bag if you want to. You can play like that. You can put zips in it, but you do all of that before you put the lining inside. So, you know, putting the lining and the bag together is like the last step. So I've got, Alan again, how do I sew furry fabric? Alan, I would suggest you Google a lot of these questions because it's quite difficult to cover them all in just a few minutes. But if you're struggling to sew with fur, a walking foot will be quite useful. But if you go on to Google and say, how do I sew fur fabric, you'll find tons and tons of videos with lots of information that I don't actually have time to give in my Friday sessions. But Elaine says, why iron if you don't need to? Exactly. Exactly. Right, so nearly all the way around. Right, so I've just done some back stitches. Now I'm just going to trim off my threads and my little bags with the row hoe. Got some bits of red thread cotton sticking up as well. But if you are, you know, making little bags for fundraising and things like that, shopping bags are a really good one. So, Wendy, I forgot, sitting in the garden, how much did I miss? Quite a lot. I made 2 bags. Hang on, let's move you back. So, Wendy, you missed 2 complete demos, but you can always go back. So here we go. This is the bag that we've just made. Got a bit of loose thread sticking up there. Obviously, if you missed any of it, you can go back afterwards and watch it from the beginning. Once I finish being live, it'll be saved at the top. But there we go. We've got a fully lined shopping bag with the handles and a flat bottom like that. So you can make it, I've made it with not a complete fat quarter. I've got a little bit left over because I did mine 12 inches by 10 inches. But you could actually use a whole fat quarter. Okay, so this is, yes Wendy, this is the row hoe. So we've got this in the sale on Sunday at 8 AM and this is the bag we did at the beginning. So the little zipper pouch. I think this is really sweet because you can make it very small to put coins in as a gift, or Easter eggs or chocolates or makeup or anything like that. You can make it bigger. If you do make it sort of, I found that 10 inches and above you're going to need some wadding or some stabilizer because it doesn't hold its shape, but when it's smaller it does hold its shape quite nicely. And you can get little connectors for little keyring things that you can put this on and make a very small one and perhaps keep a pound in for your shopping cart. So there you go, that's the 2 demos that we've just done. I hope you enjoyed them and I hope you will join me on Sunday morning. Now I do very quickly just want to give you a really sneaky peek. Shh, shh. This is what I was waiting in for today. Hang on, just wrap my foot. So this is launching on Monday. Bobbin Street Dies. So on Monday I've got 9 and 3, which I think are Screen Sensation, but 11 AM on Monday and then another show on Tuesday with the Bobbin Street Dies. Look at these. How's that for a hexagon die? How awesome is that? Let me just get my extension table. They they sent me a list of what was coming, and it just said hexagons, and I was like, oh, okay. So, but this hexagon, this is a 4.5-inch edge hexagon. Also, you get 4 hexagons of different sizes. So we've got 3, 3.5, yep, 3.5, 4 and 4.5. And when you're talking about the sizes of hexagons, it's actually this edge that we measure, not this. But the way that maths works is that if that is 4 inches, then this will be, that area there will be 2 inches, and that will be 2 inches. So a 4-inch is actually 8 inches all the way across from there to there. So that's one of them. So guess what I'm doing tomorrow? Because I really, you know, I should do some work really tomorrow and tonight. I can't wait. I can't wait. I said to Paul, I'm just going to go do my go live. I won't be long. So then we've got with the triangle. So we've got equilateral triangles, which, let's have a look. We've got 4.5 in that. That means, oh yes, I did ask them, because obviously I have some input with these, and they asked me what I'd like, and then sometimes they ignore me completely. No, they don't. They don't ignore me completely. But I said what we want is, if we have hexagons, we want we want triangles that fit the same edges, and we do. So we've got 4.5, 4, 3.5 and 3-inch edges. I think I'm going to have to get some of these for my stand, aren't I, at the Festival of Quilts again. Because obviously I'm going to be at the Festival of Quilts with my EPP stand. But those are rather superb. Then we've got, what have we got? We've got squares. So the biggest square there is 4.5. And then we've got right angle triangles, which the biggest square on that one is 2.5. So 2.5. That means if you did quarter square triangles, it would fit with this. Then we've got ovals. But look at, oh, a little diddy one. How cute is that? So we've got ovals. We've got circles, because we know I love circles, and the biggest circle is again 4.5 inches wide. Then we've got, I've just done those ones. We've got a teddy bear, which at the moment, and this isn't obviously the packaging. I get to see this, but so this is a teddy bear body with various bits. So I'll work out how he goes to go. Oh, it's even got little eyes. Then we've got a dragonfly. And a flower. Now, which machine will you be using? Here I use my crossover, the blue one, the tattered lace blue one with a variable setting, but that's no longer available. The other one that I've got, is it here? I think it might be at the studio, is the Fabmatic. So both of which will take these, and actually I like both of those machines because they also take the AccuQuilt dies. Especially the crossover, because it's adjustable. But I don't know why they don't make it anymore. Companies do that. They make something for a while, and then they just stop making it. But I do love my Fabmatic. I can use it for my AccuQuilt dies because it's got variable press rather than variable plates. Cut and Boss, yes, I believe the Cut and Boss does work. Cut and Boss, anything where you can vary the plate combinations. Because I think the Cut and Boss is like the Fabmatic, and you've got sort of 4 or 5 different plates, haven't you, of different densities. And basically with these dies, with the Fabmatic, if you stick all the dies through, it cuts with it. So if you've got that, the only thing you need to think about is, I mean, that is a hoofing great big hexagon. That is actually, yeah, 8 inches wide. So you need to make sure that whatever die cutting machine you've got is going to fit. These are going to fit through. These will not fit through your AccuQuilt because obviously the AccuQuilt have got base plates in them. So what I'm going to do later, after I've had my tea, is I'm going to have a little play with these, especially the big one, with my sewing machine, because I do quite like doing larger hexagons with Y-shaped seams. Y-shaped seams, yes. Alison, A4 platform, yes, because that is 8.5 inches, isn't it? Isn't it 8.5 inches by 11.5 an A4? Not sure. But yes, I'm going to have a little play with those later on, and they launch on Monday. Again, they never tell us what the offers are, so I can't say to you, you know, wait, because you'll get a better price, because I don't know, and they often put things up and they're available, but then sometimes, like the sale stuff is up today, but the prices haven't gone down yet. So Alan says, I use my Grand Caliber die cutting machine, which is an A4 die cutting machine. I don't know the Grand Caliber, Alan, but I should imagine if it's A4 that they would fit on it. So yes, I do love the Bobbin Street dies because they're so functional. I mean, I do like looking at the tattered lace dies and all those other die company dies, but as a sewer, they're not all that useful, really. You know, I have, when they're big shapes, like with the Fabmatic, they've got the gloves, like the little Christmas mittens or the Christmas trees, or with my, I bought last year with my AccuQuilt, I bought the reindeer. They're quite useful with those big sizes, but when you look at the dies that they do for paper crafting, they're just too fiddly. They just won't work as dies for sewers. But something like that, I will use thousands of times. I will use that, and I kept asking them for a nice big hexagon, mainly because I was too tight to buy a nice big hexagon die for my AccuQuilt. So, yes, Elaine. Yeah, exactly. It's the detail is lovely, and you can cut them out. Some of the dies you can cut them out with oh, what's it called? Material Magic, because I did do some, but it's quite fiddly to stitch them down. And when details are too small, the fabric kind of disintegrates because there's not enough fibres to hold it together. But with these dies, they are so incredibly useful. I really can't wait to get playing with them. That's good. So but I did have to sit downstairs for like 5.5 hours waiting for them to arrive, because obviously if they don't come today and the show's on Monday, I'm in a bit of a pickle. But will it work on a Gemini? I don't know what a Gemini is, Cindy. I don't know enough about paper crafting to tell you whether it's going to work with the Gemini. If it's got separate plates. Oh, how would I do the bear? Yes, he'll be in appliqued down with felt, probably, because I've found a big box of felt actually that I'm just desperate to use. Corinne Lepierre's felt, so that'll be a bit of hand sewing to keep me occupied tomorrow. But that's how I'll probably do the bear, Heather. But what I will do as well is I will take some pictures. I just realised I've had my machine for 3 years and I've just lost the foot. Must be here on the table. It was there yesterday because I adjusted it. This is what happens when I tidy up. You see, I can't find... Oh, I can see it on the floor. You know the adjustable feet? They can adjust right out. Oh, there we go. Screw that back in. Oh. So they do adjust all the way out, those feet. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the demonstrations of the bags. If you missed them, you can go back and watch this again once I've pressed finish, because it saves it to the top. I will also later tonight or tomorrow post a link to my blog about the bobbin fill, and then I'll get on with some sewing and probably share a few more pictures, a few more sneaky peeks of those dies once I get started. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me for the bag demos, and I hope you have a play. And if you do make some, please, please, please share them to my page, share them to my main page, because at the top it does allow you to post, and we would all like to see them. If you send them to me in a private message, nobody else can see them and see how wonderful you are. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you all soon, and have a lovely evening and enjoy a bit more of the sunshine. See you soon. Bye bye.